And right now, we have an interview with Meguire Hennes, the vice president of her campus. Welcome.
Hi.
How are you this morning?
I'm so great. How are you?
I'm doing okay. It's college. Sleep
Yep. Early
becomes less
Tuesday
of a
morning.
priority.
Yep.
We need to do something about the sleep culture around here. I'm sick of it.
Oh
I've
my
had it
God.
up to here.
I feel that.
We need to take care of ourselves.
Uh-huh.
Well, maybe you can start your own organization, Jake. But Meguire, I want to ask you, what are some of the duties you have to perform as vice president of her campus?
Well, so I've been vice president since September. I was trained this summer while we were still, at home, with my amazing president, Megan. We got to be trained by the last president and vice president, and this September we kind of just really stepped into those roles. It was a little nerve-wracking coming straight out of COVID, but we have a group of over 50 amazing women, and my role as vice president is to I'm the vice president and content strategy director. So that means I'm kind of figuring out how we can strengthen our traffic and our numbers on social. Right now, me and my friend Giselle, who's also on her campus, we're kind of restructuring all of our social media platforms, which is so exciting. We
Nice.
got 15 new people this semester alone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. We're kind of revamping the YouTube, the Twitter, Instagram, Visco, and now we're even starting our own podcast, which we're so excited about.
Wow, that's like
Yeah, and we're one of the first Her Campus chapters to do that. So,
cool.
Yeah, so I'm in charge of basically making sure that we're posting every single day on every platform. We're also on TikTok too, so that's a fun
nice.
new thing to handle. But everyone's having a blast, and we meet every other week. We have our second meeting of the semester today, actually. And then tomorrow we have our social media pitch meetings where we talk about content that's going live each week and how we can make it more timely and more revolved around our audiences. And we actually gained 35 followers in the last week. So that's exciting. Things are paying off.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's so sick to see that growth like that.
Yeah, it's so exciting.
Yeah, what's that like revamp of the social media? Like, how's that like what's like going into that?
Yeah, so before Megan and I started as VP and president, we kind of noticed that there was a lack in interest, specifically on our Instagram. And I think it was because we were suited toward one angle of an audience. Our Instagram was nothing wrong with this, of course, was more pink and girly. And, we figured that the people in our chapter and the people coming to our sites aren't really looking for that, and it was working last year. They were doing an amazing job, but we just thought it was our duty to like revamp it and make it more approachable for everybody. So we redesigned our logos. We kind of changed our color scheme, our aesthetic on our Instagram specifically. And TikTok, we're making it much more personable and and easy to connect to. And that's kind of what we're doing right now, is we're just focusing on how we can make it more accessible to a larger group of people, that rather than just specifically women. So, yeah.
And with all this social media revamping and all the responsibilities you have as vice president, what does her campus mean to you? Obviously, a big thing is you want to make it more accessible to people other than just girls and women. But overall, what does being part of this organization mean to you?
Well, not to sound dramatic, but it high key changed my life. Last January, January 2021, my boyfriend told me I should just apply to be a member of Her Campus Montclair. And because I'm a fashion studies major, but I don't necessarily want to be a designer or something in that area. I love fashion, and I love PR and social media and things revolving around media. But my boyfriend gave me the courage to apply last January because I wasn't really involved in a lot of clubs here. So I applied and I got in. I was a contributing writer and a member of the social media team last January. And then they sent out applications for the e-board. And I put one in to be vice president, not really expecting to get it since it was my first semester in the club anyway.
Right.
And then I got it, and it was amazing. And
that's awesome.
Yeah. And then this past September, I actually applied to be an intern at Her Campus National and work with the national edit team journalism.
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I
Huge.
got it. And now I'm
Wow.
putting out 3 to 4 articles a week on national. So I'm not writing for my own chapter anymore, but
Right.
it's great coverage to get people back to our chapter, because I'm able to connect with a wider range of audiences while making them aware of the fact that our chapter exists.
Right.
So
Yeah.
and I get to work with amazing people in the journalism industry, and her campus has quite literally changed my life. And yeah, and now I'm graduating this semester and so happy with where our chapter is going and what we're accomplishing. And I'm so happy with everything that her campus has given me. There are some amazing women in this chapter. So
Yeah, that is amazing.
thank
That's really
you.
cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. You recently made a story called "The 9 Worst Valentine's Day Stories," according to college students. What was the process of creating a piece like this?
Well, is that the one from that I posted from last week?
I'm assuming. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I actually posted on my Instagram. I said, if anyone wants to be included for a Valentine's Day story, slide up. And I got like 30 responses from some of my closest friends with the craziest stories. My goodness. So I got to start. I started talking to them. Got their Snapchat messages and called some of them and got some amazing stories. And so I was originally going to write it as like me explaining the story, but as I read their responses, I realized it could be more interesting as an as told to piece, which is where I just edit their statements so that it flows
Right.
more cohesively. So I just ended up doing that, and it actually became a lot more personal and straight from
Yeah.
their experiences. I had a blast writing that one. It came together quite quickly, which was really exciting. But
That's really cool. Just
Yeah.
piecing it together like
yeah, it was
that.
really cool.
So like the way it was written, it was more like them telling like I did this, then this
Mhm.
happened. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was all quotes, and I was originally going to explain the story
Right.
myself, but I figured it was much more intriguing just to hear right from them
Yeah,
what
and
exactly happened.
Can you give us an example of like 1 or 2 of the horror stories from that piece?
Oh my goodness.
Because
so-
as you know, Valentine's Day is
yes.
Oh yeah, it's
math
coming up,
days
right?
Fast
away. I
approaching,
don't know how
yeah.
to count. So
Yeah, so one of my friends, Owen, he went on a date. Actually, no, he was at a show choir competition, and he
A show
got
choir competition? Like a
yes.
choir?
Yeah, it's basically a performance. I was a performer.
Oh really?
Yeah,
That's
and
awesome.
so I performed with him this summer.
Oh.
But he was at a show or rehearsal, and he got a call from one of his friends saying he needed to talk to him. And so he called him, and he was like, "Your boyfriend sent me a nude and asked for it back." And Owen was like starstruck. He was like, "What is going on?" And so he called his boyfriend and is like, "Is this true?" And he was like, "No, no, 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 no," denying it. And so basically he did it. And
right.
Owen had been getting a bunch of DMs from his friends prior saying, "Do not date this guy. Like, there's so many red flags." And he did it anyway, but who can blame him,
Yeah.
And so he ended up breaking up with him. But this guy goes on to make a fake Snapchat account in Owen's name and start posting things as if they're still dating.
Oh,
And he
no.
did so many
Whoa.
other bad things. You have to go read the article, not to plug my own article. But,
Yeah.
yeah, but you have to go read it because there's 9 other incredible, crazy stories. But
If
yeah.
there anything like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh, absolutely. And what inspired you to become a fashion studies major? I remember you said that before.
Yeah, so I actually was I was accepted as a musical theater student, and then
Oh,
I ended
wait,
up
what instrument did you? Oh, you
Musical-
sung?
musical
Oh,
theater.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. My sister and I have been performing since we were very young, and it was always
Wow.
kind of something I wanted to do. But throughout the past, I'd say 5 or 6 years, things have been pretty slow for me, and it's hard to make headway in this business. And I've been going at it for a long time. I have an
Right.
agent and everything.
Oh wow.
But I decided I'd always been interested in fashion. People would call me the Carrie Bradshaw of Wisconsin, proudly. But so I'd always been interested in fashion. I love expressing myself through clothing. But I knew I didn't want to be a designer. And so I didn't want to go into the fashion design program.
Right.
But I loved fashion studies. I love how well-rounded it was. It gives you that artistic background as well as the management and, PR. And I really got to take some really interesting classes. And so that's kind of why I chose it. But through fashion, I kind of discovered fashion journalism and editorial journalism.
Right.
And that's what I'm planning on going into. And you don't really need a journalism to go into editorial. You just need background and stories and
Mm.
devotion, motivation. But so yeah, I love journalism and fashion journalism specifically. But yeah, I've written some pretty cool fashion journalism pieces. At the beginning of the semester, I wrote a piece um, about how Harry Styles' tour was more of a fashion show than New York Fashion Week,
Oh, wow.
and
Wow.
it gained a lot of traffic on the website. But
Hot takes.
yes, I also wrote a piece called "Death to Doc Martens," which I knew was not going to be
Yeah,
reciprocated well.
I'm sure
Yeah.
a lot of Doc Marten stands out there.
Yeah, yes. I think they're very cute, but they
Mm.
just hurt my feet so badly, and
Mm.
I don't want to put myself through that pain. But so I wrote it and I got some very interesting comments on
Yeah.
Instagram. So that was a lot to handle. Was not prepared for that. Because the Her Campus National that I'm writing for, they have 105,000 followers on Instagram. And
Right.
so they posted my piece and everyone was like, "What? Shut up. Oh my God, she has no idea what she's talking about." But I remember one comment was like, says the girl who's never worn Doc Martens a day in her life, or it was like, okay. But I got to write some pretty interesting pieces, and I get to be with the internship for the rest of the semester.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I just wrote a piece about my favorite 10 Black TikTok creators to follow for Black History Month,
Right.
and that'll be going up today or tomorrow. But yeah, I get to write a lot of well-rounded stories, which is really interesting, and I feel like that background helps me a lot as vice president, because
Right.
it helps me understand the more like logistical, like strategic planning for posting articles and posting social media. So
Right.
it's all a full circle, and Her Campus has done a lot for me, and I'm excited to see what our chapter does this semester.
Yeah. And going off of that,
Mhm.
Montclair is composed mostly of people within the tri-state area. But as you mentioned before, you're from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
How did you end up here at MSU?
Yeah, so I actually I knew I wanted to be on the East Coast because of my performing background. I
Right.
wanted to be close to the city, but I did not want to be in the city. That gives me
Yeah.
anxiety. Just thinking
Yeah.
about it. So I found Montclair and kind of fell in love with it. And I didn't visit the school before I accepted it and planned to come out here because Wisconsin and everything. So I kind of just jumped on the bandwagon and hoped for the best. But I'm graduating a year early, so I have a lot of thanks to Montclair for that. It was not an easy 3 years, but it was worth it. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on,
Oh,
Meguire.
thank you.
But before you go, how
Mhm.
can people get involved at Her Campus?
Yeah, so go to our Instagram, HC Montclair. Give us a follow. Our application link is in our bio. People can apply all year, all semester long. And our meetings are Tuesday at 4 o'clock. On Zoom, we had to change to Zoom this semester just because of the
Right.
uncertainty of everything. And because we have 30 plus people coming to every meeting. So we'll be on Zoom. And then Wednesdays, we have our social media pitch meeting, which is really exciting because we get to talk about current things going on in the world and how we can make content suited for that. So make sure to go to our Instagram, and then from there, you'll find links to all of our other social media handles. And if you want to be involved, send in an application because we accept everybody. So I mean,
Awesome.
that's an open invitation. So
Well, thank you again for coming on.
yeah, thanks for having me.